Agreed. All right, let's switch over here to the first sheet of running backs. They are Tank Bigsby, 31% rostered, RB 36. Chase Brown, 71% owned, RB 27. Roshan Johnson, 31% rostered, and RB 43. Tyrone Tracy's 34% rostered, RB 54. Tyler Algier, 39% rostered, RB 51. This literally should just be titled the elite handcuff backs with some standalone value, because we've seen like all five of these guys are producing in a backup role enough to be on the fantasy football map. If any of them carves out a larger role or takes over the role, they could all be studs. Obviously, for me, number 5 here, despite the fact that he's probably producing the best in most weeks, Algier is 5 for me, because I think Algier, we would agree, Algier's the only one of these 5 who has no chance of winning the job outright. Like, I could see a scenario where Bigsby takes over for ETN, Brown for Moss, Roshan for Swift. Tracy already did it this week with Singletary, but outside of a Bijan injury, Algier's a 50-50 at best. I think if I had to rank this, I love me some Tyrone Tracy, because I know he's probably the riskiest, but I think he has the best shot of just never giving this job back to Singletary. Then I'm going Bigsby, Brown, Roshan, and Algier last. What do you think of these 5?
Yeah, I think Roshan actually needs an injury. Like they had the chance to go to Roshan and they decided to go back to Swift. So that kind of tells us
Swift's playing really well.
Yeah, and he had 2 extremely juicy matchups. He was just better, and Roshan got the touchdowns, but his role's not great. So I think Roshan falls in the Algier.
Getting all the passing.
Yeah, like I think he needs an injury, like similar to Algier, to really be a guy you can confidently start. Where you're talking about RB2 or better. Yeah, I think if you want short-term production where you know they're on the field, it's going to be Chase Brown because Zach Moss is dealing with the injury. So like if you need the production now that you're 100% want the production, Chase Brown's a bet I would take. If we want upside bet, it's between Tracy and Bigsby. Bigsby's also stealing the role from ETN, who's dealing with a shoulder injury, but I think the Moss injury is worse, so that's why I go with that. But yeah, like for me, like on our Dynasty show, which I was talking about, like Tracy's the guy I'm targeting just because he looks different compared to Singletary. It's a different type of explosive athlete who just brings more to the field. So I get it. Singletary was dealing with a groin injury, and that could be multiple weeks. So we're gonna get some runway of Tracy. I just don't know how long it's gonna be. But yeah, Tracy's the guy I'm targeting, and then it would be Brown and Bigsby. Those would be the top 3 by far of this group, and then it's Roshan and Algier. Is how I would personally rank them. We actually have a question from Jason, so I'm curious. Would you drop Ford for Bigsby in half PPR? Would you chase that with Bigsby, or would you hold Ford? Because we have Nick Chubb coming back.
Depends. Yeah, I'm not. That's one where I'm not so sure Nick Chubb is. Like, I think he might be the entire 3 weeks to get back out of his window here. Then, even when he comes back, I think Ford still has a role. This depends on roster construction for me. If I'm not playing Ford, or if I'm only flexing Ford and I can go to, say, a receiver, I'm willing to take the shot and swing for the fences with Bigsby. If I have to start this guy as my RB2, just give me Ford. I get it. Chubb could be back, but Ford seems safer. I think for the rest of the year, even with Chubb back, Ford is still in at worst a 50-50 split. I get this offense sucks, but I think, like I said, roster dependent. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll shoot the upside shot with Bigsby and see how it goes. Because like we're seeing Ford in that role, and like the Deshaun Watson offense is really just limiting them as a whole. So like I'll take a piece and see where it goes with Bigsby. But to your point, yeah, if you need the production, I'm fine keeping Ford. But in most situations, I'm gonna swing for the fence with Bigsby and see how it goes. Because if he does take the job from ETN, which he's definitely at least a 50-50 split right now. Like if he takes that job, like he's just far more valuable than what Ford's giving you. So like that's kind of how I think about it as well.
He's just not I don't think there's any chance he takes the pass catching role. So that kind of limits his upside. Second page here, we have some more useful guys. I don't like this page as much. I obviously like Bucky Irving, 68% rostered, RB 38. Braylon Allen, 58% rostered, RB 37. Dara Gumbawale, I guess if you really wanted, you could put Cam Akers in here. Cam Akers seems more touchdown dependent. Agumbawale. It seems Cam Akers is getting all the rushing. Agumbawale, as you can see, is getting the receiving. He's 4% rostered, RB 39, which is impressive because he's only played like 2 games. Trey Sermon, 66% owned, RB 50. Jaleel McLaughlin, 27% rostered, RB 45. I prefer Bucky pretty close with Braylon Allen, mile behind to Jaleel McLaughlin, Trey Sermon, Agumbawale. Like for me, these two in Irving and Allen are closer to this group here. They might even sneak up ahead of Roshan or Algier if I had to rank all these out of 10. And then these 3 are by far the last 3 for me.
100%. I would much rather. Bucky's in the Bigsby tier for me. Like Bucky's a guy I want everywhere because he, like, even if he's in a split, he's in a very valuable split and a good offense. So like it's totally fine. Braylon Allen's like the one guy of all this group, like with the Aaron Rodgers offense. I know it struggled, but that role, if an injury happens to Brees, he becomes a far more valuable guy on this list. And for the Texans guys, actually, it's Dameon Pierce. I would shoot the moon for overall Agumbawale over Cam Akers because he's been injured, but when he's going to come back, he's more than likely the RB2 on that team. So we have Mixon also coming back soon. So it's whoever the Texans running back is, like between Agumbawale or Akers. I don't really want either one of those guys because multiple running backs are coming back to take their job. Sermon's just like short-term replacement. So if you need points, like go chase Sherman because we don't know how long the injury is going to be for JT, but high ankle sprains, man, they take a long time to heal. So Sermon could be RB2 for you for like a month. And that's pretty valuable if you need points. So I'm fine with him. I'm honestly just not that interested in McLaughlin. Like, man, that offense is just, it's something else. So like, McLaughlin's going to be like 10th of all these guys for me, which is unfortunate because I really liked him. It's not going well for him right now.
So like I said, I'd rank this page here, Irving, Allen, then the other 3 I have no real interest in. I guess let's move on to